Hello, very good evening or morning or whatever it is to all you good ladies and gentlemen out there. Welcome back to our Architects Listen discography, discovery thing, whatever you want to call it. We are now on 2016's All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us. Before we just kick off with this one, I will say, yeah, it's been 3 weeks, roughly nearly a month since my last Architects coverage, and that is simply because shit's been going on. You know, the Euros has been going on. It's only just finished, and of course, England bottled it in another final. So that was upsetting. I was on holiday this weekend as well. I only got back yesterday. And yeah, it's just been a bit messy these last 3 weeks. There's not really been a lot of time or many opportunities for me to actually sit down and record these things because for the last 3 weeks as well, I've also been preparing for a darts tournament that I'll be hosting very soon and all. So yeah, it's been a messy 3 weeks for me, and that's why I haven't been able to get this one to you guys sooner, because I've been excited to listen to this one. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've heard Gone with the Wind from this album already, and that is a very good tune in my opinion. So yeah, if the rest of the album's anything like it, then I'm very excited to hear it. So I won't waste any more time and give you guys any more excuses. I will now just jump into the album, listen to it from head to toe, starting with Nihilist. Let's go. Starting with the big guns, let's go. Yeah, as expected. We're not quite into the era of Architects just yet, where it, transitions into something a little calmer. We're still on that fast-paced heaviness that, of course, their fan base absolutely adores, and I'm loving it, and I'm beginning to appreciate a lot more the more we listen to these songs. So let's keep going, shall we? Death Wish. Relatively obvious theme of what this tune is about, considering the title of the song is Death Wish, and the lyrics are mainly speaking about how we're essentially living to kill ourselves at this rate. Kill the planet, kill ourselves. Nice. I enjoyed that one more than Nihilist, I'll say that much. Songs was like what do you call it, a social commentary, but with a commentary like that about such a real issue as well. I quite enjoy when it feels natural to listen to. Oh, I'm turning that up. My left ear likes that. Oh, yes. Oh. Josh, that was a fucking sexy ending. Oof, I enjoyed that one. Right, we'll wait for the song to calm down before we give it a quick pause. Right, those first three songs, what I was talking about in structure-wise anyway. Obviously, I could be dead wrong here. I'm not a music expert. I just like listening to music and I want to learn the drums. There's a big difference in a musical expert and someone like me who just enjoys music. But as far as I can tell from these first three songs anyway, they all start relatively similar in how they get a lot of the aggression, and then before the first instrumental break, we've got a shout bleh. Then we get down to either a one or a two, I'd say verse long, a bridge maybe, little segment where it slows itself down, the clean vocals come out a little bit more, and then it finishes off with a breakdown before ending out the song on a similar sort of pace to the breakdown. And I think when it comes to structure of songs, when Architect songs feel like they have structure, they work so fucking well, especially these earlier ones. That's why I love Hollow Crown so much. Like, when I first listened to it a couple of weeks ago, well, 2 months ago now, I think, pretty much, at first I was like, oh yeah, I enjoyed this, but then it didn't snap straight away. But since going back and listening to it again, twice now, it's become one of my favourite albums I've listened to in a long time. I enjoy Hollow Crown a lot. Now, of course, the rest of the albums, such as The Here and Now, that one felt like it didn't have the same sort of structural, like, what am I looking for here? It didn't merge together. Like, all the little parts didn't mash together the same way that they did in Hollow Crown to create a cohesive and amazing listening experience for me. But what that album got right was slowing down and including slow songs, clean songs. And those are some of my favourite Architect songs now. You know, An Open Letter to Myself and Heartburn. I enjoy those songs a lot. But then we move forward again into Daybreaker, and Daybreaker reminds me a lot of Hollow Crown, but it picks up the pace. And same with Lost Forever, Lost Together. It was another one of those where everything does merge together, but just doesn't have that same... I don't know, I can't describe it, because I'm really picky with my music taste, because I remember when I was doing the Bring Me the Horizon reactions all that time ago now, and people was like commenting saying, I don't understand your music taste. What do you like, what do you not like? If you like this song and that song when they're both very similar to other songs you didn't like, I don't know. I simply don't know. Maybe it's the case that some songs need to grow on me. Maybe it's a case that I am just really weird. Probably both. But yeah, it's one of those ones where if I listen to a song and if it clicks with me straight away, it clicks. Like Hollow Crown, the song did, for example, or Heartburn. Those slow songs I enjoy. But then when it comes to other songs that click with me straight away that aren't slow, like that we've heard from Architect so far, like Inelegance, BTN, Delete Rewind, those kind of songs, they just click. But then other songs have had to grow on me, such as Follow the Water, and then a couple of songs from Lost Forever. So it's one of those situations where I'm listening to these now. These last two songs, Phantom Fear, and I've already forgot the name of the fucking song, Death Wish, I would probably listen to these again, and I reckon I'd like them more in a second listen. But after these reactions, I end up putting them in the songs that I enjoy the most in my playlist anyway. Nihilist probably won't make the playlist, but so far we've got 2 out of 3. Sorry, moving into number 4. I'll stop the waffling because that's probably going to take up a majority of the time in the video, and you're probably not here to listen to me waffle about what I like, which is weird considering you're watching a reaction video. But anyways, let's move on. Next song, Downfall. Ooh. This sounds a lot like Doomsday. I know this released before Doomsday, but that general sound, it's slower in its tempo, yes, but then I'm going to rewind about 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. It's very similar to Doomsday's main sound in terms of the guitar, but also the main... Why can't I get my words out today? What word am I looking for here? The melody of Doomsday. It sounds very similar. Of course, the song's just fucking started. I appreciate that. So we'll keep moving. But up to now, that straight away, this reminded me of Doomsday. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's why they took that direction with that song. Sweet. I like how that rounds itself back around to end where it started. But yeah, it does remind me of a bit of a slower Doomsday, which is interesting to see if that is the foundation they go to take into Doomsday as a single. I'm not sure if Doomsday was included in Holy Hell or not, but I know obviously I know it was released as a single not long after this. I think it was like 2017 or 18. But yeah, really cool. I enjoyed that song. Gone with the Wind. I've heard this song. I like this song a lot. So not much to say about it. But what I will say is why I think I enjoy this song when it's quite similar to a lot of what they've put out, in this sort of style. But then there's a lot of songs that I don't enjoy. And again, if you listen to those lead guitars, the melody, I enjoy the lead guitar melody. I enjoy the sound of the guitar, the way the bass strings pull. But mainly as well is how I've noticed with this album as well, the production is up. It's not just play the instrument in the studio. There's a lot of production going into these tracks. Listen to that like synth sound in the background. It creates like an oral feeling in your ears. You know what I mean? Not oral, but hey you, not oh you dirty bastards. You know what I mean? It's like a transcending kind of sound. It sounds godly in a way. And outside of the screaming, you have that same sort of sound. Blah. There must be some really fucking hard notes to hit to get that high with a scream like that. That's insane. But yeah, this part in particular, give this a listen. Like that. Those electronic sounds on top of this feeling you've already got where it's like a transcendent feeling. It fits the song title so well, how fast-paced and energetic the whole song is, with all of these noises in the background. There's these amazing ethereal sounds. Especially this section with the clean vocals, it really drives that home. Yeah. The best way to describe this song to me and why I think I enjoyed it so much as a listener of more recent Architects before coming back this way. Don't kill me for this. It reminds me a lot of what For Those That Wish to Exist does with its songs in being heavily production focused, having a more like, or not orchestral feeling to them, because obviously that was a separate project. But with For Those That Wish to Exist not being standard like old school metalcore, when it's just a lot of the high intensity, high tempo shit like what we have been listening to, but it does mix in those those softer elements while keeping it heavy. Again, I always go back to this example when I think about Architects, like early 2000s, or sorry, like mid 2000s, early 2010s projects. Think Suicide Season by Bring Me the Horizon. Those songs remind me a lot of what I heard from those previous albums, and again, that's just a comparison that I draw having listened to those albums, and it's fresh in my head. There are probably better bands and songs to compare it to, but of course I'm here to expand my knowledge and my own, music taste and listen to new bands and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. But like I said at the start of this whole project, I've been listening to For Those That Wish to Exist, and I've listened to the classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit before. But then, the new releases like Seeing Red and Curse, I really enjoy, but they sound so different. Everything about those albums and songs are so fucking different to what has been put out in the past by this band. And that's why I was so curious to come back and explore it and gain this appreciation for it. But in this song in particular, I've been listening to this song for a while. It's been on my playlist for a long time, way before I started this project, and I've always enjoyed it, but I've never bothered to look at the rest of the album for whatever reason. But I think the reason I enjoyed this song because it came up one day and I heard it and I thought, oh, well, it has so many similar elements to For Those That Wish to Exist. And I think I was fresh off Suicide Season at the time as well. So I was used to that kind of more, that high tempo type of song. And yeah, that's probably why I enjoyed it so much at the time. And I still really enjoy it now. It does give me those high production value feelings while incorporating plenty of what Architects fans loved. And if they still love it, I think I'm more than sure that they have a bigger fan base for the old stuff than the new stuff, but I can't comment, I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's it's a unique song, I'll say that much, and I enjoy it a lot. It's still probably, obviously, from what we've heard so far, it's still my favourite on the album, but we've got a couple of tracks to go still, so I'm not going to comment any further. We're just going to continue on, and I'll stop explaining myself while pausing. I'll try and speak while I listen. Again with the electronic sound, moving more into production. This is like a bit crush sound to it, like it coming off an SNES game almost. That one had a very epic feeling to it in a lot of places. So yeah, so again, it's another one of those tracks where I feel like the production is more on point in what they're trying to do, and the album so far, it just feels like a natural evolution of what they was doing. You know, it really does feel like, again, to use the same example, there is a hell, there is a heaven to Sempiternal. It does feel like they have that idea and then it steps itself up. So this has gone from Suicide Season to There Is a Hell, and then I can only anticipate the next album, in Holy Hell, will take that next leap, which from the song I've already heard being Holy Hell, it does. So let's go. Tell me what's little weapon to watch your kingdom grow. On the edges in the ocean, heaven stop the slow. Oh, I don't know how to feel about that. And it loops back to what we had at the start, yeah. Oh, I don't know how to feel about that. Because after Find a Price in Your Head, that was the perfect opportunity to just fucking destroy with a breakdown. Slow, like, whoosh kind of breakdown, but fair enough. We're following the structure. I like how it stops for that last one. Oh, you know what? I enjoyed that song a lot, but I'm so sorry I have to go back to this. This really let me down. Oh, why does it do that? You know what? I'm gonna have to load up Spotify on the web just so I don't interrupt this on here now. But I'm gonna give you an example of what that reminded me of and what I was hoping we was gonna get just then. Yeah, okay. So it's Thoughts and Prayers by Motionless in White, the song that it was reminding me of a lot in that moment, and it's this specific segment. I had to go back to the app because the website fucking hates me for some reason. Just we'll give it a listen. Hear me out, okay? It's just the tone in Chris Motionless's voice, how it's not a pronounced kind of vocal where it's not an explicit scream. It's more closed teeth, like, you know, kind of like when you speak to someone through your teeth. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like he's sitting here going, ah, he's not like her like that. Listen.
You know that I can't hear you. The holy well is dry. So when you face the truth, open your fucking eyes.
That kind of aggression is what I think lets this song down at its ending big time. Because the aggression and the teeth gritty sound of this line would go so well if that aggression continued into the music. Apologies for the wee cut. But yeah, it's just that kind of aggression that I feel like would perfectly follow up that part of the song. I'll play it again. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it folds itself up in the right way. But that's just me. I would have preferred for that to get a little bit heavier. I know Motionless in White and Architects are two completely different bands in the sound, and especially at this point in Architects' life cycle. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that could have been a lot better for itself. But yeah, it's probably one of the better songs on the album, regardless. But moving on, Gravity. Let's go. Oh, and again with the electronic sounds. Interesting. Nice. Yeah. Interesting to note that basically almost all songs end with a 2 or 3 line long little segment. It's interesting. I enjoyed that one a bit. It reminded me a bit of Feather of Lead from Daybreaker. All love is lost. I really enjoy that line there, because there's no human in us left, we are music made for the deaf. I quite enjoy that. Certainly a bit of a stranger track, that one. Not quite for me. Okay. Huh. Once again, using samples from something that sounds like a really modest, report. Just like the last album. That's interesting. Again, another one of those ones that I like, topsy-turvy for me. I enjoyed a lot of parts of the song, but the song as a whole wasn't quite that. But I believe this is our final song, Memento Mori. Yeah. And I have heard the name of this song before. Probably because it's 8 minutes long.
Change, and everything is changed, nothing can be held on to. To the degree that you go with a stream, you see, you are still. You're flowing with it. But to the degree you resist the stream, then you notice that the current is rushing past you and fighting. So swim with it. Go with it. And you're there. You're at rest.
It's an interesting song. It does to an extent. How am I gonna word this one?
You can't hang on to yourself. You don't have to try not to hang on to yourself. It can't be done. And that is salvation. Memento mori. Be mindful of death.
It's a very interesting way to close out an otherwise fantastic album. This is a subjective kind of song where, of course, a lot of bands have done this before. The primary example that came to my mind straight away when I saw the song was 8 minutes long was Scissors and and Iowa by Slipknot. Sorry, those two songs, 8 and 15 minutes respectively, are not necessarily pleasant listens. They are more musical experiments and experiences, whereas this song feels like it tries to be a song while being that musical experience with a political commentary, which is strange. Just going by the lyrics here, it does feel like it wants to tell a message and tell a story. And of course the song Memento Mori, Be Mindful of Death, it's trying to send a message, and it's a way to round out an album based on its title, which is clever. It's a very clever way to end the album. However, the song itself is not for me. Now, as far as the actual album goes itself, the rest of the album, what do I feel? I think this is a very, very strong record. Very strong. Of course, Nihilist is a song that probably will grow on me. Deathwish, Phantom Fear, Downfall, The Empty Hourglass, and Match Made in Heaven, for me, were all very good songs. Gravity, again, it is a good song, but it leans away from the better ones. But as a whole, this is one of Architect's strongest projects by a long, long mile, and I can see why it gets a lot of praise. It fills that void for me that the previous album didn't fill for me. I understand that Forever Lost Together is a fan favourite album. I understand that, and I still am pissed off with myself for not enjoying it the way that a lot of people do, but I can't help that fact. This album feels like what this album tried to do, but 100 times better. And that will, of course, lead into the next album, which is taking us towards the end of our journey now. But yeah, All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us is a fantastic, and I mean a fantastic project. I really, really, really enjoyed this album a lot. It's got some of the highest highs this band has produced, in my opinion. And the laws aren't exactly that law, they're just not interesting. There's a difference. They are listenable, they're just not interesting. But it's nowhere near, of course, like when it comes to uninteresting albums, it's nowhere near Nightmares or anything like that, or some of the lower tracks from, the other albums like the Here and Now. Well, not as a whole, I don't know, I have a soft spot for Hollow Crown after listening to it for the first time and going back to it multiple times. I do have a soft spot for Hollow Crown. But All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us feels like, almost 10 years later from Hollow Crown, a fantastic and perfect evolution of what they started as and what they became in this time. It's probably the second best album I've heard so far. I think Daybreaker falls just short of All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us personally. But yeah, this was a fantastic record, and I'm glad we finally got to it. But yeah, that of course leaves us with Holy Hell to go next until we do our final 2-track albums after that being For Those That Wish to Exist and Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit, which both of those will be revisits and not first time hearings. I won't talk about Seeing Red or Curse as they are singles that I listen to almost daily, so yeah, I feel it's appropriate to leave them out of the conversation. But yeah, very happy with what we listened to today. I found it to be really, really good. Like, really, really good. So sweet. Sorry for the delay in getting this one out to you again. I can't make promises on when the next one will be out. Hopefully next week or the week after. But like I said, I've got a lot on my plate at the minute. It's coming to that time of year now where things are getting a bit busy work-wise, especially when you're working, retail fast food and kids are off school. So it's going to be a bit difficult for me to try and find free time. But yeah, I'll do my best to get these out a bit faster because I do want to finish this up and move on. And I'm already debating which one to go to next. But yeah, we'll see. Thanks a ton for listening and watching with me. And I'll see you when we cover Holy Hell.